So they took me out of the courtroom, took me to this what's called a holding area, holding cell, and they loaded us all up, me and a bunch of other inmates who had been convicted. So now we become wards of the state. And they got us in these waist shackles, orange jumpsuits, leg shackles, wrist shackles, these black boxes. And they got them very tight, where they leave impressions in your arms and in your legs, being too tight. Not all officers did that, but enough of them did it to where if you made any kind of move, it seemed like the handcuffs just get tighter and tighter. And you got to ride from where I was, from the city of St. Louis, all the way to Jefferson City, was a 125-mile ride. Very uncomfortable. On a chain gang, and I'm shackled to about 20 other guys. When we get there, just like what was described to you earlier, with the exception of one thing, is once we got there, they took the shackles up off of us. It was this huge banner. This is on with real bold letters, huge, and every man coming to that prison saw it. You know what this banner said? It said, "Leave all your hopes, family, and dreams behind." That's what it said. So you had no hope coming into this world. You know, in this prison, MSP. Yes, that was, described to you by Chris. Time Magazine did an article on it back in the 80s, and they described it as the bloodiest 47 acres west of the Mississippi River. And it was the oldest prison, built in 1836. And it was a very evil place. And I'm talking about top-down evil. Some of the administrators, guards, people who work there, and a bunch of inmates, evil people. Just evil. When they process you in here, they strip you naked, tell you to spray you with bug spray under your arms, genital areas, bend over, squat, spray you in your buttocks area. This is what they do. Then sprinkle on, and then they assign you some clothes and a number. That's when they gave you that number. 153063, Burton, report to the housing unit. Burton 153063, report to the captain's office. Burton 153063, report to the visiting room. Wherever I had to go, it was always Burton in that number. Rarely did they say Darryl Burton. Everything that belonged to me, clothes, underclothes, shoes, caps, any piece of mail that I got, it had that number stamped on it. I said, man, I've been reduced to a number. This is humiliating, degrading, demoralizing, depressing. Have you ever been depressed? And you're in a hell like this, and you're innocent? And I don't believe in evil, but the evil that I saw men do to other men, and it would just shock your conscience. And I'm going to tell you just a couple of vignettes or stories about what evil I witnessed in that place. Coming up in the 80s. The scream, I've never heard a man scream the way I heard him scream. Unbelievable, like it's coming from deep within his soul. And you ask the guy, what was he screaming about like that last night? Was the man, he was getting raped. Or his roommate was stabbing him to death, or he was losing his mind. You can't take it sometimes. I don't know about these guys, and I'm pretty sure I can speak for them, but there was moments in that prison when I said, I'm not going to wake up to live and see another day in this hellhole. I'm tired. And the only way out is suicide. And you know that. That's prison life. It was some time when a guy come to prison, and a new guy. He didn't know anybody. We was on the yard, beautiful day. There's hundreds and hundreds of inmates out on the yard. Some playing handball, basketball, lifting weights. Some was playing softball, a couple of teams. We were watching the softball game, me and a couple other guys. Some of us stayed in some city. There was a new guy coming to prison. He sit down to watch the softball game by himself. And he sit down and no one befriends him. No one go up to him and say, hey man, welcome to prison, pal. How you doing? Want a glass of lemonade? You okay? Want a candy bar? No one do that. When a guy sit down just to watch the game, he's, minding his own business. And another man saw he was a new guy, walked past him and went to the weight pile and picked up a curl ball, and he came up behind that man with that curl ball and took it and hit him so hard in his head, it split his head from the front all the way to the back, like a doctor with a scalpel. Almost knocked him semi-unconscious. The guy jumped up and said, man, I don't even know you. What did you hit me for? He dropped the curl ball and said, welcome to prison, punk. That was it. No reason. Nobody yelled, hey, look out, watch out, man. None of us. I didn't say nothing, and nobody else, because you don't get involved. Eating your meal in the dining room, have these round tables with 4 students. If I'm sitting across from the guy, across from me, I'm responsible for watching his back. And the same thing with the students going, to the opposite directions. If something happens to that man I'm sitting across and I don't say nothing, he's going to blame me. If it happened from the back, I'm supposed to say, look out, man. But the tables over to my right or to my left, whatever happened at those tables when somebody's eating their breakfast, lunch, or dinner, I have no concern with that, none. This table is the only one I'm concerned about. And every year while I was in that prison, I sat at the same table and ate my meal. For decades, the same table. Every table in that dining room was spoken for. And if you sat at the wrong dining room table, well, guess what? The man who owned that table, in his mind, he's going to immediately start fighting you or stabbing you or hitting you in your head with a pipe. Just because you sit at a table to eat your meal. That's prison life. You haven't heard about this here. You haven't seen nothing like this, and God forbid that you do. They put me in a housing unit the first day. It's called Supermax. Day number 1. They put me in another guy, what's called JC gates. Big old thick boys, seem like they 8, 9 feet tall. And they locked that gate with the long skeletal keys. As soon as they lock that gate, that's your only way in, that's your only way out. Long corridor, it seemed like as long as a football field. When they locked us behind these gates, me and this new guy, we got our clothes with our numbers stamped on it. We walked a few feet, and then we heard some rumbling, boom, 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 and looked around. 2 guys was chasing 2 other guys, stabbing. This was day 1. I just got to that unit. They were stabbing these guys. Blood just jumping out of these guys. And they was trying to run. They couldn't get nowhere until they didn't walk. There was a wall. They tried to stab them guys to death with some long 9-inch knives, homemade knives. Big old knives. We call them bone crushers. Because whenever they stabbed you with one of those kind of knives, if it didn't kill you, it was going to break your bone. Arms or leg or whatever. Wherever they stabbed you at, you knew you was going to be hurt bad. The day that I was released from prison, August 29, 2008, they was rushing a man to the prison infirmary. That's the hospital. He had his throat cut that morning. The day that I went in, the day that I got out, you think I had some clothes off? Well, yes, I did. There was times when the guy would come to me the next day and say, hey, Darryl, the guys over there was talking about stabbing you last night. I said, well, what, man? I ain't done nothing to those dudes. I don't even know them. Don't even talk to them. They said, well, you was talking to that guy over there, they got into it with him last night. They saw the 2 of you talking. They thought you were with them, so they gonna stab you both. Just for talking to the guy. And if I'm talking to him, there's 2 things I wanted to talk about. One, well, what was the new case law? How can we get out of prison? Do some kind of case law, or to get a new trial. And the next thing I was interested in was, what was the hole in the wall? How can we escape? Do you know how to get out of it, man? You found a tunnel? That's the only thing I wanted to talk about. Not like, fighting or getting into it with nobody. I wasn't concerned about that. I got life without parole and I'm innocent. And contrary to popular belief, people say, well, they all say they're innocent. Well, they may say that when they get arrested, but once a guy get convicted, he said, well, man, I did it. It just didn't happen the way they said it happened. Or I got too much time. Or whatever the case may be. But me, I'm innocent through and through. And I got life without parole. Life without parole. My motivator was anger. And another thing what motivated me was my daughter. I had a daughter who was 7 months when I last saw her before I got arrested. 7 months. I left a baby, and when I was exonerated, I came home to a woman. The next time I saw my daughter, she was turning 26. She's 28 now. We just bought a house and just moved in a house together right here in North Kansas City. For the first time in almost 30 years, we've had a chance to live as father and daughter together. And her life story was just as bad as mine. One of these days, you're going to hear both of us together, or all of us together talking. But this is what, the experience was with me. Now I'm just going to share with you all about how I was able to get out. What I had to do myself, as what they call a pro se litigant. That meant I had to fight my own case and act as my own lawyer. I wrote motions and pleadings and briefs and all kinds of, letters, the documents to the courts asking for a new trial and appeal. And I kept getting denied. The court kept denying. Every time I filed a motion, denied. I filed another one, denied. And I filed more and more, denied. That should have been my middle name, Darryl, denied, Burton, because they was not giving me any kind of legal help.